Hey guys, welcome to my program Mikaili, where I'm going to be connecting you to the global kitesurfing community live every week directly from the Barang House here in Taiba, Ceará, Brazil. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Mika. I am 16 years old and 3 times kitesurfing world champion. Guys, I am so excited today because I have just launched my new YouTube channel with all of my lives and past videos already on there. Barang House and I have been working super hard on making my new logo and all of my videos just perfect. So take some time to go subscribe to Mikaili and the Barang House. Don't forget to comment and ask some questions throughout the show. Today with me, I not only have Aaron Hadlow, but I also have Ralf Grosel, who is one of Duotone's kite designers. So let's watch a video of Aaron before we talk to them. Hey guys, how are you guys doing today?
Hi Mika, great.
Hey, how's it going?
Very great. Pretty good. You guys are in South Africa testing right now, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we've been here for a little while now, about 2 or 3 months almost. We've been testing
for a little while.
Yeah, a lot of good wind and getting on with the job.
Yeah, for sure. How's the COVID situation there? Like, I know, like, I can't even go to South Africa right now because Brazil, you're not allowed to go there. Like, you're not even allowed to go into the country.
Well, the situation is actually not that bad. There are not so many COVID cases currently. So they have 5 different lockdown stages,
yeah.
From 1 to 5. And we are now in stage 1, which means there is just very little regulations. And for us, there's basically we can do everything which is required to do the job. So nothing bad in here.
No. We're allowed to go to the
That's
beaches.
good. That's really good.
We were unable to kite at the beaches for a little while there, for a little bit whilst the stages and the restrictions were harder. But as that's been released now, and now we're able to get back on the water.
That's good. That's great. Here in Brazil, the situation is actually pretty bad right now. Like, we're hitting the peak of COVID. Actually, it was supposed to be August of last year, but now and everything's going into lockdown. So that kind of sucks. But you know, it is what it is. Anyways, guys, so we're going to take a closer look into Aaron right now. Actually, I have a video from Aaron's YouTube channel called 20 Video Series, if we're going to play that right now. Guys, don't forget to subscribe to Aaron's YouTube channel as well. Aaron, you might not know this, but when I was learning freestyle, you were actually my idol, and I used to like consistently watch your progression videos. Like, I could probably say like I watch at least 20 hours of it like in a month. I was just like on and on and on. I was just like, how is he so good? But I was so excited when I got to meet you at the PKRA event in 2014. I was just like, oh my God, it's Aaron Hadlow, you know? Fábio, pode botar a foto. Here we have a photo of me and Aaron. I think I was around 9 then. I was tiny. I was just literally anything.
Yeah, that was cool. I was in this, I remember people saying and seeing you ride a little bit, seeing you coming up and this girl's doing really good. She's going to be the champion and this and that. So, yeah, it's good to see it happened.
No, yeah, for sure. I remember the competition. It was like, I was so excited to like meet everyone. And I was just like, I got there and I was like, kind of like, I was just in shock at first. I was like, wow, these are like all my idols. And I'm like meeting everyone. And it was just like a big step into my career as a kite surfer as well.
Nice.
Well, Aaron, you dominated the kiting world for many years. Can you tell me how old you were when you first won your title?
Yeah, I mean, I was competing since a really young age and then was on the tour full time, when I was 14. And then when I was 15, just turning 16, that's when I won my first world title. So, yeah, I mean, it was a different time back then in kite surfing for sure. But then was able to have a lot of support from my family, my dad. He was taking me around and my mom there as well. And just was a crazy time for me being so young, but being able to just be so passionate about kite surfing and just going for it. So I was 15 and
for sure.
win for a few more years after that too.
How many titles do you have in freestyle?
I won 5 world titles on the tour consecutively. Yeah, so yeah, it was a good run, good little stretch.
Yeah, really good run. Why was the reason that you stopped competing? Like you only stopped competing in freestyle, but you went on to the King of the Air and the park riding scene as well. But what was your
Yeah.
main reason into stopping freestyle?
I actually stopped freestyle for a couple of years around 2009, 10, and I just needed a bit of a break. I was like full on the tour schedule, and yeah, I just went a different path for a little while to learn a few other things and try something new. And then I unfortunately got injured at that time. And when I was like training to come back for, I think it was a 2012 season, and I was feeling super good and like ready to go for it again, and I got injured, so that set me back a little while. And then yeah, I came back on the tour in 2013 for a few more years. Was able to do a few more events, and yeah, win a couple as well. And then yeah, just as time went on, I think I just got to a point where I was happy with what I achieved and was able, yeah, to like do some different riding. It was impossible to do park riding, to do big air, to do all these different disciplines and be at the top. So I kind of had to like choose where to go, and I couldn't do those other disciplines and still win the freestyle world tour. So I just chose to explore a little bit more.
No, yeah, for sure. I think injuries can really set you back, and like sometimes when you get injured, your mindset just like goes back like so many levels, and you just have to like regain that. But you're kiting right now at a level in the King of the Air, which is probably even more. It's even more intense than it is in freestyle. So
Yeah,
like
I
that's
mean,
already like a huge achievement.
yeah, I guess. I mean, it's different, definitely. And I think freestyle is just so technically difficult, and the constant impact, the amount you have to train to land all these tricks constantly is intense. And with big air, it is also, but it's also different. I think it's also intense, and okay, there's maybe a little bit more risk. But I'm just so competitive. I always have been, and yeah, I was just able to like go through different ways and still keep the competitions going. And now I just chose to go to something I could focus on, especially being here in South Africa so often and doing the King of the Air.
No, yeah, for sure. But you also did the Triple S. Tell us a little bit about park riding, and do you think park riding has come to an end since the Triple S is no longer an event?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. It definitely was the focal point in the past. The Triple S was massive. It was, yeah, like such a huge one-off event. Really good time, and yeah, it's definitely a huge shame and a huge loss for this side of the sport. But I don't think it will die. I think it will become more kind of just different riders will split up and do different things. And I think especially now with the situation around the world, a lot of these riders are always meeting up together, making videos, and that's really difficult at the minute. So that's the reason it's kind of taken a bit of a downturn at the moment. And I think, I mean, it's still going to be there. I think it's very niche and probably will stay like that as time goes on. But yeah, I don't think it will die, and it's possible that other events will come back.
No, yeah, for sure. For you guys who don't know, the Triple S is a super cool event. Well, was a super cool event. It was the only event in kitesurfing that actually had equal pay for women and men. Guys, I know this is actually like a pretty loaded question, but since we're celebrating International Women's Day this week, I thought it would be a relevant question. Do you think girls should get equal pay in kitesurfing events?
Yeah, I mean, I can't see why not. I think it's down to the competitiveness a little bit. And from what I can see, okay, maybe the level between the guys and the girls is different, but as long as that competitiveness between each other is as strong, I think there's no reason why not. And, you know, it takes a lot to achieve the goal of a champion, whether you're female or male. So, I mean, there's always limited funds within kite surfing, which is maybe some of the issue at points, at times. But yeah, I think for the future, it should be something that is coming.
No, yeah, I know, and like in my opinion, I know that there are less girls than guys competing, but like I believe that at least the top four girls or three girls should get the same as the top three guys, but not going as deep. You know, like 1, 2, 3 will get the same prize money as the guys, and the guys can keep going until 9, but the prize money won't go as deep into the girls. But we still have like the same travel expenses and everything for the guys, so I don't know if it's very fair that the guys, sure, your level is way higher and you have a lot more injuries in the sport, but I don't know. I think it would just be really good for, I think, just the community of kiting if girls would be able to get equal pay in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it could be good, and I'm sure it's going to go that way in the future. And I still think there's high risk for the women as well. There's also a lot of injuries, and freestyle's demanding no matter what. So yeah, I don't think that is an issue.
No, yeah. After winning so many world titles, you went on to win the Red Bull King of the Year in 2015 and in 16, and you also participated in it today. Do you feel like this sport has more adrenaline than the other ones, considering that you go in way stronger winds and you don't have as much control per se of the conditions?
Yeah, there's definitely an adrenaline factor. It's and just you know how it is to compete yourself. Once you're in the box and you're in the heat, it's kind of like you just go into a zone where not much else matters. You're all about that next trick, and you kind of, risk is not really in your mind so much at the time. So you're always pushing your limit. And when the wind is strong and you're in the king of the air, it's no different, and the risk is pretty high. But yeah, you search this adrenaline, and when you get used to it, you're comfortable in it, and yeah, it's definitely part of the reason that I I really enjoy it, and yeah, it's intense. I mean, it's definitely even as much as I train at the gym and on the water beforehand, before this event, like for sure, 2 days after doing just however 3 or 4 heats, get into a final. I'm just, my abs are done and I'm just finished for like 2 or 3 days. It's just, you put so much energy into that day.
No, yeah, I've tried kiting in that strong wind. Like your back hurts, your abs hurt. It's just like everything hurts the next day, especially if you're not used to it. So I can't even imagine when you're competing and you're just putting so much strain on your body for such a long period of time, how you would feel the next day. That would be really
Sure.
tough. After experiencing so many different aspects in the sport, do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite?
I think I still like freestyle the most. It's just what I've always done and loved, and just the progression and the learning, and just even now just seeing, people like yourself and the guys your age just pushing the limits and learning new tricks and still landing that. I appreciate how difficult it is to get to that level. So I think that's the reason I still love it the most. And there's nothing better for me still, to have a good freestyle session. It's the most rewarding for me.
No, yeah, for sure. And also with freestyle, like you can always do more. Like you can always add another grab and tweak your style. And it's just, for me, freestyle, I've tried big air. I don't really think it's my thing, but freestyle for sure is my passion in the sport. I do wave riding as well and strapless freestyle. But out of the three of them, I would have to say freestyle is still my main objective.
Yeah, nice.
If you could give me one piece of advice, if you could go back in time to my age, what would you have done differently?
Wow, that is a good question. It's difficult when I was young as well. I look back at some of the advice I could have took on, and that is definitely one thing I wish I took on as much as I could at the time, but I didn't always listen to everything. And that's just part of growing up and part of like, taking a career forward, and you have to learn these things yourself. So I mean, I want to say like, just, yeah, try and take more on, but I know that's not always possible, and it's not like that. So for a more simpler answer, I would just say, just keep making it fun and doing what you want to do, and just let that, like the passion for it, continue. So that's the best way to stay motivated and not maybe burn out, or not enjoy it anymore. You want to just keep pushing it because you love it.
Yeah, exactly. If somebody puts too much pressure on you, you feel like it is a job in a way, because you have to train, you have to do certain things for your brand, but you also want it to be fun. You don't want to lose the fun in the sport, because that's what competing is. It's like the discipline of knowing when to train and when to have fun in the sport.
Yeah,
It's very
I think
important.
you got it sorted.
Yeah, I'm getting there. Actually, Aaron, let's talk about your board, the Duotone Hadlow Team Series. I actually have it next to me. I'm using it right now. I've been using it for like the past like 2 months. How did you design it with Manu or?
Yeah. We had I mean, since I first joined, 6, 7 years ago, then there's always been this constant progress and design ideas to keep implementing, making it better and better every year. And we definitely got to a point now where we're at a really good level, really happy with it. This board was like fully designed for just riding with boots, really. And now I ride it with straps, and it's totally fine for that. For big air, it takes a lot of power and a lot of grip, but with boots, it comes into its own where you can just go pop as hard as you really need to with having such a stiff flex and rocker, and the rocker line is quite aggressive in it. And yeah, just solid landings. I think that's one thing that I've always tried to push forward, especially for this type of board. Something where you can come in and land hard without the board kind of catching or moving, and just having these channels, a lot of grip, I think has been key to this board. So yeah, I'm obviously super happy with it. Yeah.
No, yeah, guys, I've been using this board for a little bit and I absolutely love it. Make sure to check it out because it's coming out soon, so stay tuned. Anyway, Aaron, thank you so much for that. Let's talk to Ralf for a little bit. So Ralf here is the designer for the kites. He designs the Juice, the Dice, the Vegas, and the Evo. And might I say, those kites are just absolutely amazing. I love them. I used the Dice, the Juice. I've used the Juice before, and the Vegas and the Evo. They're all really good. Ralf, can you Ralf, can you tell us how you got into designing kites and how long you've been doing it? And do you have a favorite kite?
Well, it's actually quite a long story, and I tried to keep it short. I started with paragliding when I was 14, and since ever then I was like really into the sports of flying and into building like scaled models of a paraglider. So I really was sitting in front of the sewing machine, borrowed from my mom, and made some scaled models. And to the point where I started to design them on the computer with computer aided design. And yeah, when I finished school, the first thing I did was starting the brand Fly Surfer, like totally dedicated to soft kites coming from the paragliding side of it. And then I moved my way up to North kiteboarding actually in 2005. I was also a little bit at Nash kiteboarding 2003. And yeah, so I would say like starting like the career which I'm living now started definitely at the Boards and More in 2004. Still making soft kites together with Fabio and Grosel, which was the world champion in snow kiting back then. And in 2006 or 7, I started to develop my first kite model, which was the Evo. So that was the shortcut of it.
Yeah. In January of 2020, before COVID, me, Aaron, Ralf, and also Valentin were thinking of new designs for the Vegas. We were trying to look for a 4-line Vegas model, but we spent days of testing and tweaking around with the settings. But we haven't come up with the ultimate answer for the 4-line Vegas because it just, in the strong and gusty wind, it wouldn't give you enough slack, or it would give you too much slack, and it wasn't performing as well as we wanted it to. Can you talk us through a day of testing and what we would do?
Yeah, well, actually, I mean, testing and developing kites is kind of a very complex process. And since Aaron joined the team, when was it, Aaron?
Yeah, 2014, 15.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Oh, 2014, well, back in the old days. We have been working consistently on the Vegas and improved it every single year up to the point where I think also, Mika, you would agree on this. We have like a dedicated competition machine, and it's
Oh yeah.
very difficult. It's very difficult to progress with this niche product. So we have been developing 4-line kites also with a different set of materials with the Penta TX. And I still believe that there is a good chance that one day we will have the ultimate solution, or that we found it. But currently, I have to say that in the combination, especially also with the board, like with the setup, with the entire equipment we are running, it's still the best compromise for the competition riders, like the way we have been progressing on a 5th line configuration. So it seems to be still the best so far, huh?
I would say, yeah. And there's definitely still some options, and I think it's still, like you say, there's still room for
improvement.
But like at the end of the day, this kite has to perform for those 10 minutes or 7 minutes in a heat. So that's where it's mainly aimed at.
Yeah, Mika, you have to like it, this is pretty much.
No, the kite is amazing. I don't think there's a better freestyle kite out there. It just gives the right amount of slack. It like holds you in the air, so like you don't just drop. Actually, Aaron, do you have a favorite setting on the kite?
Yeah. I've actually always ridden the kite really aggressive, so I actually always put it on the low D power. It's pretty much, I would say, the reason it's on the kite.
Yeah, definitely. For one person, actually, for him, it's like the most expensive setting in the history of kite surfing.
So the low power's there, basically, and then the rear is kind of just. I think I changed it here and there just for different sizes, but usually in the middle or on the smaller kites on the slower setting. So to pull it down a bit, but I just like the aggressive power. I've always had this kind of just way of riding.
Like a slingshot. It's like a slingshot.
Exactly. I've always gone for the most aggressive slack in the kite. So that's like the most aggressive hard pop and then the most slack. Whereas, as you go medium and then soft, you get more of a consistent pull. And then it just changes from personal riding, I think. But that's how. Yep. That's why they're on there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Everybody's different. That's why we have so many different settings on the kite. Ralf, can you talk us through the process of designing kites? What stages does it go through before you actually send it off to production? Because it can't be an easy task.
Yeah, it depends on what you're aiming for. For example, it makes a huge difference if you are going to design something entirely new, whatever. For example, like a new light wind kite or something like this into that area, or progressing with an existing model. Like that's definitely something totally different. But overall, you always have to have the vision. You always have to have like your personal goal, your target, what you're aiming for. And depending on this target, you're of course you try to figure out like which person should be involved into the development process, which is a super important aspect to it. I mean, Aaron is part of the team since, as we just learned, since 2014. And also lately, Marian Hund joined the team, and we three together, we are like developing all the models I'm designing. And in this group, we set our targets, of course, depending also on the market feedback. That's clear, like this is something, if you see that we have to adjust something or there's a new trend coming up, then of course we are going this way. But there's no general answer to this, as you can see. But I can give you an example what we have to do when we are achieving something new, like for example, the juice. The juice is definitely the benchmark in lightwind kiting. Mika, you said you tried that as well, and I think you can really see how much progression or how much progress we have in that kite from 1 year to another, to really starting with different materials, with different sewing methods. Super important, like the production side of it is extremely important to actually just get your ideas come true. So it is the sum of many, many different variables, which puts you into the position to design something new. And in the end, if you have been able to get it right, you have something special. You can maybe put it this way.
No, yeah. Talking about light materials, let's talk to us about the SLS material, strong, light, superior. How did you guys develop the material, and how is it going to affect the kites?
We have been developing that material exclusively with our supplier Challenger Sailcloth, and it was like a kind of an accident. I was basically doing something else. I was in Macedonia flying some paraglider prototypes, some development work over there, and we had just a random chat with Ben and his dad, which is leading the company Challenger. And I said, like, okay, guys, just imagine you would have to develop a material which is not depending on the price point, because surely it's like we always have to have a target price for the materials. It's a very important component of the development process. And I said, like, listen, just keep the pricing away. What would you do? And then we just had a chat for an hour until the point Ben said, okay, I have an idea. We have a special yarn and we got a new machine which may help us to develop something special. And 2 weeks later, Ben was calling me again, and Nate was also on the phone, which is the production leader over there. And you could really they had hear that these guys are celebrating something. I said, like, okay, what's going on? I said, like, man, we just found a material combination which is so strong that it ripped apart the machine which actually tests the tear resistance.
What?
So they were like, really, there was the champagne popping in the background, literally. I'm not sure if it really was like that, but they were super excited. They were really, really excited. And that was the day when they've sent it over the first Penta TX sample. And since ever then, I mean, this material is lighter. It's 130 gram material. The normal one is 150. It doesn't sound so much, but it's way stiffer. And the combination of being light but stiffer really makes a huge difference. So, I mean, we are working with the material since 1.5 years now.
Yeah.
It was actually the Vegas where we tried it the first.
Yeah.
And Aaron, maybe you can say something about it.
Yeah. It's making a huge difference, and it's just like how crisp the kite becomes. And at the beginning, it was actually quite a challenge to try and implement it into the kite, because a lot of things had to change because of it. And obviously, being so rigid, the kite was kind of difficult to steer and turn and get the right performance that we wanted. But once we got the balance right, I think it's clear, like, the structural stability of the kites is great. And I love that when I'm in super strong winds. And then also when it's light winds, it's gaining some performance because it's not losing any performance anywhere.
Yeah.
And just the feeling is just way more crisp and nice. I think it's been a real step forward.
Yeah, exactly. And also the point, for example, that the kite itself positions different in the wind window, like especially on the Evo, like the angles you're able to go upwind is totally different.
Yeah.
And of course, that makes it also more difficult to, for example, use that material on the Vegas, because you want to have the kite positioned like in a certain area of the wind window, which was then not happening anymore. So it's a huge step for us. It was a huge challenge. I mean, I've never done so many prototypes in my entire career to make something work, but you can really, from the very, very first prototype, you have been feeling that there is this performance gain. And then we just was seeking for it, no? To get a round kite made out of it. And I think we nailed it. I mean, at the moment we have 2 kites in the market, which is the Neo SLS and the Evo SLS. And other models, of course, will follow. And we are fully in progress of making new SLS kites. And it's going to be good.
Yeah, it's exciting.
No, yeah, I have the Neo SLS, and it's just, you can really feel the difference in the kite. You know, like when you're flying it, you can. The first time I lifted it up, I was like, wow, it's so light. And the wind just dropped, and I was still able to go upwind. And my dad was just on the 2020 Neo, and he wasn't able to upwind, and he was on a bigger kite than I was. And I was just like, wow, like that is just such an improvement, because the kite, it's basically light wind. Was that one of your main goals, being able to have the kite fly in lighter wind as well, or was it just material?
It's one of the aspects. I mean, the main target is always that you increase the wind range overall from the bottom to the high end, and this is something you gain both. You gain the low end, because of also the way the kite is positioning itself, the slippiness and the way you can accelerate the kite. But also for us, definitely one of the extreme important aspects is to boost it like on the top wind range, on the edge of what is possible. And if you have a kite like an Evo 8 meter in South Africa conditions, is not the worst.
No, it's definitely not the worst. It's going like a rocket.
Yeah.
Just
It's a rocket ship for sure. Yeah, no, it's a rocket ship really. It's just like the way it flies, the way also it like, it just feels. The connection is different. It's like I always say, it's like a racing car. You know? It's really, you are super connected with the kite. Still, the Evo is very light on the bar, and you need to have to adapt yourself a little bit to it. But once you're actually motivated to really understand the kite and feel the kite, I think it's a big thing.
Yeah,
for me at least.
Yeah, definitely.
No, yeah, for sure, definitely. Between all of the kites that you've designed, do you have a favorite one of all of them?
No, because not really. Because first of all, I put like the similar amount of effort into every single kite. I'm like Aaron said, you have to be competitive. And I mean, I'm not a team rider, I'm a designer, but I'm extremely competitive. And which means or leads me to the fact that I really want to do the best possible with all the ingredients I have on my side. And therefore, I would say I don't have a particular model. It's more like that I really want to have the best package. And the package is not only the kite, it's the material, it's everything which is related to the production side, all the construction details. This is part of my work, has always been. Everything what we have done in the last years with the Progression 10, like the way we build the kites is something what I have done together with Hannes Knolls, our production leader at GSL, like Global Sports Lanka, in Sri Lanka. And this is just an aspect. So for me, all the kites I like them all. I would say.
How do you decide what tweaks and changes you make year to year based on the kite? Like, I know from one year to another, you can make changes that it's even like this small little detail just changes the kite completely.
Totally. Like, I mean, when we do changes, let's say from 15 millimeter, 1.5 centimeters.
I remember actually when we were testing, I was like, maybe the kite needs this, and you would move it literally like not even a centimeter, and I would just like be a completely different kite. I was just like, wow, I thought you had to move it like a lot more.
No, but this is actually the point, and I mean, this is one of like our jobs right now to be super precise. We really have to see that the slightest change with these materials make a huge difference, and therefore, while developing one model, you always figure out something. Let's say, okay, you found a way to tweak a flight characteristic, and then with the next different model, let's say from a dice to an Evo, you try to implement a similar thing, and this is the progression throughout the entire range. And especially you can see that on the upcoming SLS, which is definitely going to happen. It's anyway coming. So it is a lot of the experience we captured from the Evo went into that particular kite. Sounds a bit weird because it's not the same kind of kite, but the way to handle problems are sort of the same. So it's an overall key learning within the entire range.
No, yeah, for sure. Do you do most of your testing in South Africa, or do you sometimes like go to different locations, or is South Africa your main base?
Well, at the moment, I mean, we don't have so many options. First of all, we have
like in a normal year with no COVID.
Normal year, yeah. In a normal year, it's. I mean, South Africa is definitely a very, very important part because we have to escape the European winter. There's no way of testing in the winter in Europe at all. Doesn't make any sense. And South Africa, since a couple of years, is actually like a main part of our travel schedule.
Yeah.
but we also have the wonderful Rügen in the Baltic Sea. It's a bit more chilly, but the conditions are
Just a little bit.
Aaron loves it, but anyway, it's like kind of UK.
It is
conditions.
really pretty good.
It is actually really good, I would say. And now we are traveling. It's our schedule is so tight. I mean, if you just like count the models we have to do, there's never a standstill. Like every single week, we're getting new prototypes every single week, and we have to move.
You're just gonna fill the whole house up with prototypes.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, we have to. No, it's really like we get massive amounts of prototypes, and also parallelly. No, I mean we're working normally on 2 models parallel, at least 2 to 3 models at the same time, because they're anyway overlapping a little bit with the production schedules. And so we're busy.
No, yeah.
I think it works quite well. And also, whilst we're based back, like we're here for 2 or 3 months in South Africa, and that's clear that we have a lot of different conditions and models to work on. But when we're based back in Europe, then often we'll be in touch, talking like, okay, the kites could arrive, in the next few days. All right, let's check the forecast. Where are we going to go? And we'll just have to fly out there last minute just to get like the kites approved straight away. So yeah, we're often going away for 3-4 day trips or a week if we have to. And then, like you say, sometimes we're based longer in Germany or other places.
Yeah.
Aaron, are you like the main testing guy for Duotone? That you just travel everywhere, Ralf, and just give him the insight on the kite and how it is on the water?
I guess a little bit for Ralph's designs, and also now with Marianne as well, we have another person with us. So we're trying to make a team with more like an overall view for each model, I would say.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, for me, I've been flying kites all my life, and I was always very much focused on developing freestyle kites. And I would just say over the last couple of years, I've kind of opened up a little bit more to all the models that Ralf is using. So I'm learning a lot about different kites and how they're changing. But Ralf has like a super clear view on everything, and where to move forward, and also the feeling as well, I would say, is generally quite in line. So yeah, we always generally know we're on a good way forward.
Yeah, exactly.
During the King of the Air, you currently use the Vegas, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh no!
Do you
not
think?
anymore.
No, you use the Vegas and the Dicer.
Yeah.
It was for a while, but definitely it's changing, and it's a discussion that we've had like a lot as the competition changed as well. And in the past, for me, it was more about doing these big mega loops, big kite loops. And as we've moved forward and the competition has changed, I mainly ride the dice now for big air, almost exclusively, I would say, especially. And then we're developing a few other things. But yeah, we're trying to make it go even bigger and better. But I think we've always talked about like the balance of the loop and the height and the overall heat of the King of the Air.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's not only one aspect. I mean, the King of the Air has changed also during the last years. I mean, first of all, when Ruben Lantern came up, basically it was Ruben's idea with the big kite loops. Now you have to be a bit more technical. Yeah, you have to throw like boards of rotations in it, and then it's very important, like how the kite talks to you. But overall, it also has to jump extremely high, because jumping counts massively in the overall score. So I think there are basically 3 models. It could be the Vegas, the Dice, or actually the Evo SLS. I would say like these 3 models would be an option.
And then it depends on your style a little bit. And, someone like Lewis will go super extreme with the Vegas because he just wants to get that one big hit, do a huge kite loop. And then you have the other side where the Evo will get you a bit more height. So maybe some of the other riders will go and focus more on just big jumps with board off rotations. And for me, I'm kind of like a little bit in between. I need a kite that will do it both, because I just want to be able to boost high, get the biggest kite loops, and still have this technical side.
What about the Rebel?
Nice, yeah.
What about the Rebel?
The Rebel, I think, is way more focused on just pure big jumps. I think it's for me personally, I would say I need a kite to have quite an aggressive kite loop. So that's the reason that I wouldn't choose this one. I would choose something like the Dice.
Saying as aggressive, do you think the Vegas had a more of an aggressive and like free fall pull than the Dice does?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's clear just the amount of power it produces and how low it gets. I mean, you can always make any kite pull you as much as you want, almost in a certain way. You know, you can definitely fall out the sky on an Evo or a Dice if you do it in a certain way. But I think for the more average, consistent kite loop, if you did the same with each kite, the Vegas would definitely pull you the most. Yeah.
No, definitely. I have a question, Aaron. I'm curious. Do you have a favorite location that you've ever kited? Like if you had one spot that you could go right now, what would it be?
Well, it's hard to say. I think I would probably, right now, if I could go to your local lagoon, I would be pretty happy right now.
Speaking of Kauipi, right now it is huge. Like, you know, like the sandbar, like where the huts are, there's no more, it's all water.
Yeah.
Like there's no more sand. Like there's no place to pump your kite either. It's just all water. It's pretty cool. I went there yesterday and the wind was pretty cool. It was really nice.
Nice. Yeah, there's so many great places actually. I mean, I think I come here because there's a bit of everything, you know. It really depends what you're feeling. Like right now I'm definitely missing freestyle a little bit, so that's why I would love to go to Brazil. But like I also love Perth and Australia, and well, it's really hard to pick, honestly.
No, yeah. I mean, Brazil is basically the best place to do freestyle with the lagoons. It's just, you just can't get the consistency of the wind here, plus the flat water in many other locations. It's very hard to find.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming here today. Is there anything else that you would like to say?
Well, not in particular, I would say. I mean, this is
nice, good. I mean, thanks for having us on here as well. It was great to see that you're doing well, and I hope all the training is still going good for you. And obviously, it's hard for a lot of people around at the minute, and it's a difficult time. I'm feeling super lucky to be in South Africa, able to do what I'm doing right now too. Yeah, just wish everyone well and hope things carry on and get better for you as well over in Brazil.
Exactly.
Well, Aaron, Ralf, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Guys, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to tune in next week because we're going to have another amazing video. Also, I wanted to thank Fabio and Viviani for doing this. They are the owners of Barong House, and I just wanted to give them a big thanks. But tune in next week, and I'll see you there.
Cheers.
The Evo SLS offers a reactive and responsive ride that delivers rapid lift on jumps and instantaneous control and feedback at your fingertips.
The new Evo SLS is so much fun. We've just been boosting around and just going so high and just super direct, feel where the kite is all the time. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.